School issues were addressed in the legislature as the House of Representatives approved 2 bills that would affect students. One bill gives school districts more flexibility to provide safety.
I haven't talked to one superintendent or one school district that has any intentions of not continuing to do what's best for their communities.
The other approves alternative pathways for teachers.
Members, what we're facing with right now in our state is so huge. We have to be able to take these kind of creative steps.
Again this session, you can read all about the happenings of the House. The free nonpartisan magazine, Session Weekly, keeps you up to date, providing in-depth coverage of the House committees and floor action. Here's a glimpse of what you can expect from the professional staff of writers, editors, and photographers in this week's edition of Session Weekly. Should sprinklers be required in new or existing single-family homes? Session Weekly looks at House File 60, which would prohibit that requirement, citing the price of sprinklers could burden struggling homeowners and home builders alike. And Representative Ann Lincheski is sponsoring a bill that would abolish state aids and tax credits. But as Session Weekly divulges, her true intent is to show how those aids and credits are connected and work together. Plus, there's some good news in the state's February economic forecast. The state's biennial budget deficit has dropped by more than $1 billion. Still, Session Weekly writer Nick Bussey discovers there may be some bumps still along the way.
My story is about the state's February economic forecast. This is the definitive document that lawmakers are going to use to put together the state's biennial budget. And it represents economists' best guess about what's going to happen in the state's economy for the next 2 to 4 years and the impact on the state's budget. And this year the news is good. There was about a $1.2 billion decrease in the expected deficit. But once you start to dig deeper, it gets a little more interesting and a little more complicated, and there's a lot of uncertainty in the forecast. The uncertainty, according to Dr. Tom Stinson, who's the state's economist, could go either way. It could be good or bad, but you know, there's a lot of unrest in the Middle East that could drive up oil prices and increase the cost of gasoline, and that would basically erase a lot of the gains that were made in this forecast, depending on how bad it is.
Session Weekly will be providing coverage throughout the legislative session, keeping you informed and up to date.